Hello Aries, welcome to Healing Dove Tarot. Aries, we're going to have a look at the love energies around you from the 21st of December until the 28th. Now I know this overlaps a little bit with the current singles reading that's out, but it flows on from any time when you're watching this. I'm just changing the days of when I'll be updating the readings, okay? Now Aries, it's really interesting. I feel like you know, your last reading, I think for singles, I talked about a lot of, getting ready for the love of your life, like doing the preparation that you need. And I still feel like that's kind of the energy with you here now as you get to the end of the month, just before New Year. But I'll get straight into it with you. At the bottom of the deck, you have the King of Wands. So the King of Wands does represent your sign for me. And I think it's just showing me that you're very much coming up in your power and your element. I've talked about being empowered in love before, okay? And I feel like that kind of energy theme is continuing. What's really interesting is that you have two tens that's just drawing my attention and I can't take my eyes off of it. So I feel like I need to go there first, which is not usually how I do these readings. But you have the Ten of Wands and the Ten of Pentacles. So I don't know what happens over this period for you singles. I don't know whether it's the fact that it's Christmas and you're spending time with friends and family. Perhaps you don't even celebrate Christmas. But this is a really interesting combination to get, because on the one hand, you've got this card of burden and feeling drained and just tired of it all. And then on the other hand, you've got this card of abundance and prosperity and joy and happiness. So I'll kind of break it down for you, but I really feel like this is where you're at, Aries. It's completing of one cycle so that you can move into the next. And as I said with your reading last week, it was really preparing for the love of your life. And I still kind of feel like for a lot of you, that's where you're at. Now, there was a full moon in the sign of Cancer on the 22nd, 23rd. So this overlaps that time period as well. And if you watch my channel and been following, I talk a lot about how that's going to affect all of us and our intimate relationships. Cancer rules the seventh house. So, you know, that's our deep committed relationships and things that we're talking about when it comes to astrology. And what's interesting is you have the card of the Chariot here as you start off this period. So that's the 21st. So you've got the Two of Pentacles coupled with the Ten of Wands. So for me, when it comes to love, it could mean that you've been juggling two people, absolutely, at its very lay term. So it's just like, it's very basic form, let's put it that way. But really what this card shows me, Aries, is I feel very much like it's juggling between your past and your future. And I may have said this a few times in your videos, and forgive me if I have, because I feel like I'm repeating the message. But you've got the card of the Chariot at the bottom. So I mean, this is fascinating energy, right? So it's similar to what I was saying before. It's like this push-pull. On one hand, you've got juggling between two things, and I really feel that's your past and your future. And then on the other hand, you've got this card of burden. It's almost like wanting to give up. So some of you may be, I get the feeling like some of you are at the point where you're just like, Ali, I don't even know if I want love in my life anymore. I'm so over the whole idea of it and waiting and wishing and hoping and wanting. But what's really interesting is then you have this divinely guided, full-on energy that just like comes rushing in. It's like, boom, because it's the sign of, it's the card representing the sign of Cancer, but also the Chariot, which is my yes card. It's like forward movement, right? Going ahead, full steam ahead. And I find it really, really interesting that you have this like card of forward movement of yes, underneath two cards of like one of indecision and one of like almost breaking point. So what this means to me, Aries, as a reader, as an intuitive, is that, you know, what's that saying that you've got, you can't go any lower than the bottom. It's like once you've reached the bottom, then you can come to the top. That's where you're at, okay? Now, this doesn't mean that anything negative is going to happen this week. It's not like that. It just, I feel like for me, it's very much showing me that that's where your energy is at. I've got cards going everywhere, so that's giving me an interesting sign too. In terms of signs, I do have a Cancer, as I've mentioned to you already. I also have a female water sign, so Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, okay, coming up. Could be a male as well, but I'm seeing very feminine energy here, very kind of motherly type. I have a Libra. They're the main ones that I'm getting, okay? But yeah, it's like, maybe it's just exhaustion as you're coming into the Christmas period. And do you know, it's that funny thing when you've been single for quite some time and you've got no one on the radar, or you're wanting to have something new come in, and then, you know, it comes to the holiday period and it's like everywhere you look, you seem to see people that are coupled up, or babies, or, you know, your social media feeds filled with people getting engaged, and you're like, oh, when is it my time? That's the kind of energy that I feel for you. And what's really interesting, as I said, is that even though I feel like you've got that energy, it's like Spirit's telling you something else. It's like, you just hang tight because it's about to be full speed ahead, like full throttle ahead. Like, this is the yes card where we've got forward movement. So, and it doesn't, I'm sorry, I'm laughing because I just feel about the comedy of it all. It doesn't always seem to happen that way. It's almost like we're just about to give up. You know, there's a meme or there's an image of someone who's digging a tunnel. There's two. There's this guy that's digging a tunnel underneath, and this guy on top. And this guy on top's a little bit forward along, and then he stops and he's exhausted. But the guy on the bottom keeps going, keeps going, keeps going. And then he just goes one more little inch, and then there's like this pot of gold. And I feel like for you, Aries, that's where you're kind of at. Because as I said, as you get to the end of this period, as you get closer to the new year, once you get through that Cancer full moon, it's like you have joy and abundance and justice coming in, major arcana of justice. So on the one hand, you've got the Chariot saying, don't give up yet, we've got forward movement, it's coming, hang in there. And then in the next card, we've got, okay, it's your turn, Cancer, it's justice being served. Which is amazing. I mean, that's kind of how you want it to be, right? Now, what's interesting is, and it's probably why my energy is feeling really low as I'm doing this reading, you have a lot of cards of melancholy, is the best way I can put it, okay? You have the card of the Five of Cups. So I'm still feeling, even though I'm telling you this, I feel even people watching this, as I'm telling you this, you may be just like going, yeah, whatever, I've heard it all before. And you're just so despondent, like so over it, you know, you're just feeling really low. And I get that. And, you know, the reason why you're feeling low is because you've got the Three of Swords here. You've been really hurt in the past. And what's interesting is these three cards came out together. So Eight of Cups, Three of Swords, Nine of Wands. They're not great cards, I'll be honest with you, Aries. But what I like about them is the transition, okay? I always try to look for the story rather than just look at the single card by itself. That doesn't tell me anything. Eight of Cups speaks about emotionally moving on from a situation, okay? Eights in itself are karmic numbers. You'll hear me talk about that. So, you know, it's getting close to completing that cycle. And you've already got two tens here that show me you are completing a cycle. But eights are about completing a karmic cycle, right? Three of Swords is showing the heartbreak, the pain that you've been through. And then the Nine of Wands is showing how you've had to be defensive through that. And, you know, it's interesting because you have the Nine of Wands here and the Ten of Wands. So I see that as progression, even though it's sitting up here in your placement. That's just kind of showing me where you're getting to. But it's like a progression from this defensive energy to finally completing that cycle. So heavy, okay? It's a heavy week. There's no which way to put around it. And I feel like it's a lot of emotional cleansing house. There's a lot of things that are going to be brought up for you this week, Aries, my dear Aries singles, where it's really going to challenge you to think about the status quo and where you're at in terms of love and relationships and intimacy and what you want to bring in. Hang in there though, because the two cards that came out in addition to the extras for your next week as you go into the new year are the Three of Wands and the Six of Cups. And this is beautiful energy. This is kind of like, you know, sitting there waiting to reap the harvest of all of your creative endeavors, starting a new journey. And Six of Cups speaks about soulmate energy, so a soulmate coming in. And this is what I saw in your singles reading last week, and this is what I've seen coming in for you for a little while. It's just that this week is going to be one of those weeks for some of you, if you haven't done the work, to clear house and really let go of this emotional hurt, okay? I feel it heavy in my chest and in my throat. It's time to forgive and forget. Or maybe just forgive and park it away and go, I'm not going to let you control my present anymore. Additional card for Aries singles, please, from the 21st to the 28th. Wow, that came out pretty quickly. Did you see that? It was flying. Oh, yes! Ace of Wands! New vitality. It's really funny. Someone wrote a bit of a dig. I laugh at some of them. They're just so silly. But one of them was like, oh, talk about puking rainbows. On one of the comments of the videos. I wish I could just take a snapshot of this and send it to them now. This is literally puking rainbows. Beautiful card, Aries. Let me read it for you from the book. This is the purple border in this deck is all about wands. And this is a brand new passionate beginning, which is exactly what you want coming into the new year, right? Are you ready? Revitalize, focus, enthusiasm, and joy are the key words. There is great potential to revitalize your relationships right now, both with others and with yourself. Seize this energy and infuse more warmth and enthusiasm into all of your relationships. Have fun with other people and feel how this will lift your energy and spirits. This raised rate of vibration will assist in improving current relationships and in drawing new relationships to you. See your loved ones in a different light. For the time being, set aside any difficulties. What was I saying about forgiving? Focus on humorous and loving aspects and think of creative ways to add more laughter to your life. The more joy you add, the greater the energy level and the higher the vibration, bringing in beautifully renewed vitality. Let your relationship sparkle. Ask your spirit guides with help for this. Ask them for assistance. Wow, that's beautiful, Aries. And it's kind of exactly what I was saying. Like, this is the last little bit that you need to do, closing out that last little chapter and bringing in new vitality. Amazing. Hang in there. It's coming. I'm excited for you. I see the soulmate energy. You just need to hang in for another week. I hope you found this reading helpful. If you did, please hit the thumbs up button. It helps the channel more than you know, and I'll be back with you in the new year. Until then, I wish you a very Merry Christmas. Take care.